So, Decency has left the building. Clearly. Gotta have a gimmick. When I wear these, you wouldn't believe how many more views the videos get. And that's like going back to when I said a few weeks ago, we're going to have to become a cult-like phenomenon. We need to take this as seriously as the future demands. But right now, I don't want to be a news broadcast, but we all know Marjorie Taylor Greene celebrating the Pope's death with actually put it out into the world on social media. I mean, what kind of an idiot? I made a post, a meme, and it's up there. It's got a picture that I saw from the Natural History Museum, and it's a Neanderthal woman that looks like Marjorie Taylor Greene, you know? And I'm like, I ran into Marjorie Taylor Greene today and posted them side by side, and everyone's like liking that, but because she's such a bad person, I don't cuss anymore. It's very hard. Not on camera. It's very hard. But she is at fracking. We'll go with Battlestar Galactica speak. How about? She's a fracking idiot. Frack her. I'm not Catholic. I'm a child sexual assault survivor. I've talked with people who are victims of clergy. I'm not going to hold that against the Catholic Church, and I'm certainly not going to hold it against a pope who actually tried to change things, who actually said to bless same-sex marriages. He couldn't go so far as to ordain that you could do that, but he did stride to make steps within the framework that he had. And in any case, it used to be that I lived in a country where we just respected other people's religions enough to, like, say, I'm sorry for your loss, even if you're not a Catholic. So, classless, MTG, Decency has left the building. Then we've got, Christy Nome, killer of goats. She, director of Homeland Security, left her Gucci bag under the chair at a burger joint. It's the big city now, hun. Why are we entrusting our future? How do you continue to stand up for MAGA people, stand up for and vote for people who are so dumb that they would put their Gucci bag under their seat? Maybe you can do that in South Dakota. My son and my daughter-in-law live in South Dakota. Maybe she puts her purse under her seat. I don't know, but she's not the Homeland goddamn Security Director. And I expect better. I expect more from my elected officials. My non-elected officials is more like it. I guess she was elected at some point, but then this freaking clown parade of a cabinet. And then we've got, again, Decency has left the building in America right now. That's why I am compelled to come on here every single day, because I am going to be part of the cult of change, and I encourage you to do the same thing. You've got a Facebook Live. You're on here. Hit the live buttons. Say how you feel. Show up at every rally you can. You've got to use your voice. Our voice is our weapon, unless we want to get to actual warfare, and that is not out of the question, unfortunately, considering history and the times. But if you don't want to end up like that, then why the hell aren't you just using your words, talking things out, not being an asshole, not worshiping false gods? Trump is all but said he's God, and you're still with him. And then I've watched conservatives, which I forced myself to do, see where their head's at. Actually, I actually belong. I'm on the Trump. He like sends me emails. They're threatening. He sends emails that say, or his body of whatever, they say, we're making a list. Are you on it? You better be on it, kind of stuff. I will take screenshots and post more of the email I get from Trump as if I was a supporter. If I was a supporter, he offers me stuff to buy all the time. And he says, they're trying to impeach me. What do you think? What do you think? Are you against that? I need money so they don't impeach me. Everything's I need money. I need money. And it goes to downright, there's been several emails that are saying, we're counting our supporters. Are you a loyalist or not? If you are, click the button. If you're not on the list, that's bad. So again, I will screenshot those and send them to you. But Decency has left the building. I guess it's just going to keep coming back around to that today. Decency has left the goddamn building. Then, moving on to more indecency today, the Supreme Court is, of course, I mean, they've already sided with every other religious thing that came before them. And now they're siding with people who want to opt their children out of listening to storybooks, story time, or even having access, having it on the shelf at their library of any book that references a gay couple. So a happy gay couple with a child in a storybook, now that's a threat to their religion. Okay? And I could even, part of my religious upbringing enough says I can see why one would make the argument, I don't want to show my children something I believe is immoral. But there's a bigger argument, not argument even, just a bigger reality here. And the bigger reality here is that if you opt out of seeing a gay couple in a storybook, what about interracial marriage? How many people are against interracial marriage? A lot. So I was even looking up. There's just one hate group alone that has over 2 million social media followers, and they propose to line up gay people, that we need to change the court system, they say, to lawfully try and convict gay people, and then line them up against the wall and shoot them in the back of the head. Over 2 million Americans agree. I don't know about you, but I have gay friends. And if we're going to opt out of letting anybody gay be in a book, what about interracial marriages? These people also believe in the purity of the races, and stock shouldn't be mixed. Another quote, stock shouldn't be mixed. We're stock, we're live fucking breeders to them. Don't forget that, women. If you can opt out of interracial marriage, what's the next step? Opting out of, obviously I don't script these, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but what if you don't like internationality? What if you don't, you could just anything, you could apply this to anything. It is a slippery slope that we should not go down. If you fear your children choosing other than what you are teaching them in the home, then maybe you should teach better in the home. But removing an equal education where people are exposed to different ways of life and different types of people, if we remove that, we're one step closer to a civil war. We're divided enough, aren't we? How divided do you really want to be? I think these people really want a war. I was talking with my mailman the other day, and I was like, talking about how these people seem to actually want a war, because then they can justify becoming their Christian nationalist nation, and the rich people controlling it all could give a damn about religion, And the people who are the peasants who fill the coffers of the kings are being tricked into thinking that there's ever going to be for instance, a manufacturing future in America. It's just not going to happen. We cannot pay people to make clothing at the rate we consume it. Americans import 98% of their clothing. 98%. They expect the price of tennis shoes to go up 87% this year. And the lower it started, like a $25 pair of cheap Walmart tennis shoes, will now be over $100. In a year from now, mark my words, unless something changes on the tariffs and some agreement is met, we can't keep up with the Vietnamese and the Bangladesh who, yeah, it's not good the way their workers are compared to the American way of life. And I used to be adamantly opposed to buying anything made by them because I felt sorry for them. But in their world, if we're not buying the things they make, they don't have a living. Because their culture, their society isn't the same as ours. And while I always preach that we need to change the world for everybody, taking their livelihood away without some steps in between is not the answer. Re-education, learning to become an entrepreneur, to skip the middleman, to sew for yourself. These are steps in the right direction. Pretty much mirroring what Trump's tariffs are doing, not allowing steps. If you want to bring manufacturing back to America as much as possible, and I am all for that, then obviously it should be done step by step in such a way that you're not harming the lives and livelihoods of hundreds of thousands of people. And where I keep being flabbergasted is that so many, millions and millions of these people who voted for MAGA and are actually being hurt financially by it still are in there. And it's like, it's the cult of personality. It's the I don't want to be wrong. It's the I refuse to give up. And it is frightening because everything is actually on the line. I remember when, there's a woman that I worked for at Lazy Boy. She doesn't even know it. Sandra Hills. I'm going to thank her in my book for what I learned from her. And she's totally right-wing, totally opposite politics from me. But we still sat back to back, desk to desk, because I was the top salesperson. I was right behind her in the storefront. And we talked about everything. We got along great. We voted different on politics, and we could say, ha ha, I won, and have pleasant discourse for the rest of the time. But back then, we all agreed on the basics of the rule of law, of you lost, I lost, it's okay, that's how it goes. See you in 4 years. What do you want for lunch? And I miss those days. I don't like being polarized. And while I sometimes preach that we need to be super forgiving right now, and we do, of everybody who changes their mind, every MAGA who changes their mind, it's also hard to forget where their hearts were in the first place. So that's what we're all facing, all of us progressives, with so many MAGA people leaving and coming our way now. I encourage you to embrace them. I find it hard sometimes too. I want to just be like, no, you're a Doomkopf. I will not embrace you ever again, for you nearly brought down society. Ow. My head felt weird. But you know what? That's the bad way to go. We've got to embrace and forgive. And what I came to was, okay, remember that most people don't even watch the news. They vote party based on history, based on family, based on community, more than actually knowing anything going on. So if someone changes their mind, there's a very good chance they never knew what was going on in the first place. That makes them easier to forgive, doesn't it? I find it easier to forgive someone who like, just got it wrong. And I've been thinking they're all hateful people. But remember, the lack of education, the lack of Wi-Fi connection, the lack in many communities in America, in rural America, of an alternative point of view led people down wrong paths. So embrace them. Embrace anybody who comes back. Why do you think I'm on here talking to MAGA women so much? I'll get a whole bunch of hate. I'll get a whole bunch of hate comments, but somebody's listening. Somebody's daughter's listening. Somebody's granddaughter's listening. Somebody will change their mind, and every single person counts. And you count. If you keep voting your party, MAGA women, you're condemning the future for your daughters and your granddaughters. And you're accepting patriarchal rule. And if you got some religious belief that says that's how it's supposed to be, then you do you. I'll never convince you. But if you're a person who's just voting MAGA because of allegiance, then I encourage you to check your allegiance. Make sure that the person that you're aligned with is living up to your expectations. And if they're not, you have a vote. You have the power to change it. You and I are the only thing standing between a future of fascism, or whatever you want to call it, Christian nationalistic America, or an America where everyone is free, including Christian nationals, to be themselves, to worship religion, practice however they want to love who they want to. And I think I'll say the same thing I did yesterday to end, and just not be assholes. Just not be assholes to each other. Can we get back to that? Can we disagree about fiscal stuff? Can you be a fiscal Republican but not a racist, hateful one? And if you are, then you need to distinguish yourself soon. Because we need to know who amongst you is drinking the Kool-Aid and who is just trying to save the sinking ship. Why don't we get rid of ships altogether? Why don't we be the flip side of my rally poster, Those Nasty Women Talk, gettinggoodtrouble.com, which I bought actually. Gotta do something with that. The flip side is this. It's no right, no wrong. It's pretty hard to show you where I'm at in my little studio in the back bedroom. No right, no left. We are all people. The full party. Forward, united, in light and love. That's what I want to be. So, I started it just because I had a whim. And I started a Facebook page, I don't even know how long ago. I think it's been a couple of years now. Called The Full Party. And there's I don't know. There were 17 people forever. And all of a sudden, I got 21 more people in a day when I said something about it recently. I'm like, this isn't a bad idea, really. The Full Party. Why can't we come together from both sides of the aisle and believe in allowing everyone to express themselves religiously however they want without making fun of them, and also believe that everyone deserves equal rights, even if they aren't like us, or even if we disagree with them morally, if they're not hurting anybody. Can we go back to defining hurting anybody as actually hurting somebody instead of existing? Like the Supreme Court, I didn't even see the news yet to see what has happened, but it's most probable that they're going to let school parents opt their children out of having any access to a book that references a gay couple as a happy family. That's not going to be allowed. And if they do that, you know what they're coming for next? Interracial marriage. These same people, a lot of them don't think that we should mix the stock, going back up to the top. I said this earlier. It's a slippery slope. And be very, very careful where you put your next foot. My dad was a minister, and something that he taught me was there are two steps in front of you. You may not see the path. You probably won't see the whole path to where you want to be much of the time in your life, especially when you're young. But when you look in front of you, you've got 2 feet, and you're going to take that step or that step. And if you don't know exactly what the future holds, do what's right with your next step. And then do what's right with the next step. Because every time you take a step, you've got 2 more. And eventually, you're going to end up where you belong, where your people are, and in a world you want to see and build. But if you follow down the path of people you don't agree with, you don't believe in, just because you feel compelled, led, persuaded, or afraid, then you are bringing your children along with you. And I find that unacceptable. So think of the future, and I'll be back to talk to you tomorrow. Sorry the times are so erratic, but my book cover had to be completely redone. Not had to be, but I met Jack Canfield last week and did a retreat, a 2-day writer's retreat that my publicist wanted me to go to, and it was phenomenal. And out of it came a change to my entire book cover, and the subtitles even changed. So all of those actual graphic things, we were doing that today, so I started very late. But that being said, I don't really know what time we're going to start. Once the book's out, we'll pick a time, and I will show up. But until then, I'll see you when I see you. And I hope that you get out there and speak the word. The word. You know, even the Pope and Indian shamans and Jesuit priests and everybody else pretty much agrees. Love your neighbor. Love your neighbor. Bring decency back into the building. Okay? It's that easy. I will talk to you tomorrow. I say largely the same thing. Yay, you. See you soon. Bye. I'm going to shut down Restream first for the sake of I used to put my boobs on the screen. That was not good. Bye.